Welcome to Casual Cinephilia and our Christmas special. I'm Ian.
I'm Lorian, and today our Christmas movies, plural, are going to be the Santa Clause Trilogy.
Which I love the first one. So let's start. Let's talk about them numerically, chronologically,
Great.
and see how our perspectives progress. I love the first one. The first one is a Christmas classic. It's a Ryland staple.
Yeah.
We grew up watching Tim the Toolman Taylor,
Right.
Home Improvement, all that stuff. Like, we loved Tim Allen back in the day. And so the Santa Claus was just a solid Christmas movie a staple in our house. And,
Yeah.
rewatching it again, it definitely suffers from being a movie made in the 90s.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's still a really good Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that it opens with Santa Claus dying, falling off of a roof and dying.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So, fun fact about this movie. I guess in the original script, Tim Allen's character, Scott, didn't startle the Santa Claus off of his roof. He shot Santa Claus.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, in the original script, Scott Calvin murders Santa Claus, like flat out, and then takes over as Santa after murdering him.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Why ever did they change it?
I feel like it was changed for the worse. That could have really been a great Christmas movie.
Murder.
But yeah, I mean, we'll go into it as we move further along. But if there's one thing that these movies do really well, is the continuity of the characters and the actors playing them. Like,
sure,
it's the same actors, same characters in every single movie.
Right.
Playing the same character. And were any of them straight to DVD, or did they all have theatrical releases?
I don't know. They were all at a time when I wasn't paying attention. I was a kid.
All I know is until we did this special, I had only seen the first one.
Really?
The other two, when they came out, we just didn't see them as worthy to be watched.
Wow.
This was in the early 2000s. This was the prime era of Disney's direct to DVD or direct to home video. And it just seemed like that to us. And so we never went out and watched them.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, nothing against them. Like, I actually enjoyed them.
Sure.
But to be fair, they did not reach the quality
no.
of the first one.
Definitely not.
Oh, man.
The first one, if you watch any movies from the 90s, you notice that somehow the parents in the 90s were all dumb as shit. And somehow the first one escaped that. Like, the parents weren't perfect, of course, but they weren't like caricatures of idiots. The second and third one definitely slip into that.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a bummer for me.
Well,
but
even
I like them.
Even in the first one, the quote-unquote dumb character is, what was it, Neil?
Yeah.
But he's not dumb. He's just...
No.
The thing is, he's a therapist. And...
Right. He's the most modern, acceptable character there, and he's mocked for it.
Yeah.
He's embracing mental health, trying to make things better for everyone.
Like, I have to give whoever the screenwriter was, like, a round of applause, because some of the things he says are spot on. to what's going on and like the
Right.
delusions and all this stuff. Like it
Right.
his character is probably one of the most grounded in this entire series. I mean, by the end,
In the first
yeah,
movie.
in the first movie, yeah, by the end, he's just bonkers. But
Hmm.
the first movie, like, at first, he's kind of the villain
Right.
because he's actively trying to break, what's the kid's name? Charlie? Yeah, Charlie's
Yeah.
belief in Santa and yada yada. But after,
Sure.
like, multiple watchings, you really do actually sympathize with this poor guy who's trying to be as good of a stepfather as he possibly can.
Right.
And like you really feel for him by the end of the movie, he's proven wrong and he accepts it and he grows from it. And you're like,
Right.
"Oh, what a good character." And then he just kind of goes bonkers. they just
Yeah, and he becomes an idiot parent.
Yeah, and they just relentlessly make fun of him for his sweaters.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
and he has
And
some
that joke
really good
actually aged
sweaters.
pretty well.
Yeah. That one of the few. One of the few. But yeah, I mean,
Uh,
it's ridiculous. I want to talk about the
oh,
elves.
like spoilers,
Oh,
I
right.
guess. These
Spoilers
movies
for
are all pretty old, so
yeah, when did 3 come out?
I don't know.
Uh 2006, 14 years ago.
2006, dang.
Yeah, it's the first
We're
Santa
in high
Claus.
school.
Yep. The first Santa Claus came out in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
2 came out in 2002 and 3 was in 2006. Oh my gosh. But yeah, spoilers. For a minimum of a 14-year-old movie, maximum of what, a 26-year-old movie?
Old.
A millennial movie?
Old.
I do, though, want to talk about the elves.
Good. Go
And
on.
we'll dissect them as we go through the movies. But they go from being, I wouldn't say borderline Tolkien-esque, but they're all adult. Like they're old people in the body of children. And
Right.
like they are all wise, they are all studious, and they are all very serious about their job at making toys or making tinsel or making hot cocoa. Like they're all
Right.
very serious about their jobs.
Yeah.
And that bit of world building is so fascinating to me and I love it. Like it's such a unique alien culture and world. Like it just seemed really cool. Like there was that underlying fantasy and the fun of it, but it was also very real and grounded almost in their interactions with Scott Calvin, Santa Claus. They were
Sure.
like, you're Santa, you've got to do your job, we'll do our job, you got to do your job kind of thing. And like what was it, the elves with attitude, the
Mm-hmm.
elf SAS.
Right.
Like as a kid, I thought that was one of the most badass things ever. Like they were like kid special forces. It
Right.
was just really cool. And by the end of the third movie, they're just children. They're almost like mindless automatons.
I think we can attribute that to having a much more casual boss.
I guess. But it just is so strange. I think as we go along, we'll dissect it further. But the first movie just did a really cool job of making the North Pole seem like its own civilization. And it's like it's
Sure, sure.
been there for a long time. And these elves have always been there.
Right.
And it just degrades from movie to
Until they're
movie.
in they're in Canada, eh?
Dumbest plot twist ever. Well, it wasn't even a twist. Dumbest plot point ever.
Uh,
Oh, man. But yeah. Oh, this movie also has a character or an actor who's in all three movies, but plays
Yep.
two different characters.
Oh,
Yes,
who's this one?
Peter Boyle. He plays Father Time in 2 and
Wow.
3, but he plays Scott Calvin's boss at the toy
Oh yeah,
manufacturer before he becomes Santa Claus.
he
So,
totally does. I
yep.
didn't even notice that. And I've
Hmm.
seen all three of these movies every year since they came out, respectively. My family did not see them as straight to DVD, even if they were. We just watched them immediately.
So here's the question. Was that a continuity mistake, or was Father Time keeping an eye on Scott Calvin?
I'm
And
gonna
like,
go with continuity
no, no,
mistake.
no, 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 no. We've got to dive deep into this lore.
I feel like it's a mistake
There is
to
more
add
to this.
mythology to the Santa Clause trilogy, because
I
then you go to dark places.
I
Ian, dark
have watched
places.
enough Marvel
What happened
movies.
to the first Santa's wife? She's gone by the time Scott gets there, and she had to exist because of the second movie. It's best not to theorize.
I have to though. I have to though. There is okay. I was going to save this for later, but
Okay.
we've cracked this can open. There is such a dark undertone to these movies. Like
Yes, there is.
it is so dark, and like the so the first thing that really kicks
These
it
are
off.
like a lighting cue away from being a horror movie if you think too much about them.
Yeah. So here's the first thing that gives away. In the very first movie, he comes back on the sleigh. Not the old Santa, the new Santa comes in,
Uh-huh.
and none of the elves are
Yeah.
confused. They're just okay with it. They're a little
Yep.
confused at who this, skinny dude is at first, but then they're like, oh, right, Santa died. New Santa coming
Right.
in. Like, this is run of the mill for them. So so slightly less dark, but maybe just as equally dark. That last Santa didn't last that long. Like, he did not, like, how many Santas do they go through? I'm curious. In the third movie, they go into that room and there's like dozens, if not like hundreds of those like snow globes of previous Santas. Like, I'm just saying.
In theory, there could be multiple Santas on one Christmas Eve. Just keep dying.
Why is this snow globe so small? He lasted about 45 minutes.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Oh, these movies, like,
The concept is very dark.
yeah,
like-
it really is.
I like that they lean into it the smallest amount in the first movie when that one kid in the show and tell is like, so if I want to be Santa, I just have to knock you off a roof.
Yeah.
But then they fly away to more fun things like, Father Time and Mother Nature and the Tooth Fairy or Roy.
Yeah, or the molarizer.
Mm-hmm.
I know they couldn't because it's a Disney-owned property. But God, if the movie would have opened with him flat out murdering Santa, and then having having one of the plot points of like having to avoid like home security systems and stuff like that, and avoid getting shot.
A little. They imply at least that.
Yeah,
I think it would have made it less creepy if it were just presented to you. This is a story about murdering Santa. Then you wouldn't have had to realize that that's what it was. The realization is where the horror of the concept comes in.
That's true. That's very true. Oh my God. I mean, I love it. I love it. But You know, as I'm looking at this, like I'm looking at the IMDb,
Mm-hmm.
in the related movies, I'm looking at the first Santa Claus IMDb.
Uh-huh.
The related movies are, of course, Santa Claus 2 and Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. But literally, the next one down is Xmas, which is a horror Christmas movie. Like, I think even IMDb understands that this is borderline a horror movie.
It's a very, very well disguised horror movie, to be fair. It is not horrifying until you start to theorize, which I tried to stop us from doing, but Ian wanted to.
I mean, let's be honest. You, of all people, should know that the Christmas season deserves just a little bit of horror. I mean, you read A Christmas Carol every year, and that's borderline a horror story. So,
It is.
I mean, it
It's
is a horror story.
a ghost story of Christmas.
Yeah. So,
It's a horror
I
story.
mean, Christmas needs a pinch of terrifying, you know?
Sure.
Speaking of a pinch of terrifying, why the fuck did Santa Claus 2 have a robot Nazi in it?
Why not? See, Santa Claus 2, for me, opened up the horrifying implications of the universe more than anything else. Because, as I stated before, what the fuck happened to the other Santa's wife?
I mean,
She is nowhere at the North Pole by the time they get there that night.
so does that...
Does she disintegrate when Santa dies?
I'm
Does
thinking,
she get removed by the elves? There is no trace of her. She is gone, never mentioned or thought of. She had to exist. It's the laws of the character as we explore in depth in an entire movie.
so hear me out.
And if he had any children, which we know is a thing in the third movie, them too, guys.
Hear me out. Hear me out. The Santa Claus is a singular entity. So, as the Santa was falling off and hitting the ground, that impact was also transversely put onto the missus. Hence why there's... Because it's a singular entity. You know.
So she just like spontaneously hit the ground very hard while walking around and died?
Yep.
That's fun.
You know,
That's the worst
Christmas spirit.
marriage decision anyone's ever made. Oh, by the way, if I die, you die.
Oh, by the way, I don't think they have a choice.
Who?
The missus.
No, I know, but
I
they could choose not to marry.
No.
Santa.
I don't think they do.
There's a whole movie about her literally almost deciding not to.
And somehow getting convinced within a few days to marry.
Let's be
I
clear,
think
she was pretty desperate.
I'm just saying, I'm thinking there was some magic behind that with a pinch of Stockholm syndrome. I'm just saying.
I think that defeats the purpose of there being a clause about it. If it were a magical perk, then there wouldn't be any
She
stress.
didn't have a clause. He had the clause.
No, I know. That's what I mean.
I'm just saying. I
He
think
was stressed about it. If he just had to have a wife because that's what the magic would do, then there wouldn't be a stress to it. There's no desantification if magic is just like, let's find you a woman.
No, I don't think the Christmas magic did it. I think his magic did it. And then the Christmas magic turned her into whatever she became in the third movie. Which is different than what she became at the end of the second movie.
Yes.
Because at the end of the second movie, they sanctified her. They made her a bit rotund. And then in the third one, they're like, nah.
Never mind.
Oh my god. No, I I think I actually like the second one better than the third one.
I
I
like the third one better than the second one. To be fair though, I think they're about the same quality movie. I
yeah.
just really, really like the character design for Jack Frost. I think that ombre metallic pinstripe suit was my first costume obsession, like on par with the Pennywise one.
Gotcha. So
So I that is definitely why I prefer the third one.
Martin Short, I feel, is the only saving grace of the third one. I loved
For
his
sure.
character in the third. I loved Jack Frost. The second one, though, had the Nazi robot, and
That's a good thing for you.
well,
That's a robot is so annoying.
it literally gave Tim Allen an excuse to yell at children, and you could tell he was milking it for all that he could.
He
Like,
does love to yell at children.
like he was literally you could tell he was having the time of his life
Being a
screaming at
Nazi
children.
robot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Ugh.
These movies are on such a solid downward trajectory in quality, yet are so entertaining.
Right. The first one's a good movie. Like the first one, go watch because it's a good movie. It's a fun
Yes.
Christmas story. The actors are all good. The world design is really pretty. The second, like, you need the first to watch the second because the premise is heavily related. Of course, it's the same character,
Right.
but like, you don't need the second and third to watch the first.
No. No. Oh, and
they're like a fun, goofy romp if you really need Christmas. But the first one's actually good.
the first one is actually good. And like, does the city, the North Pole, like, does the design of it change in every movie? Because it feels like it does.
Yeah, I think it does. It does feel like it does.
Yeah.
Like dramatically.
And then they turn it into Canada. And then
Yeah.
first off, they roofie Mrs. Claus's parents, kidnap them, and take them to the North Pole, and then try and convince them it's Canada.
Almost feels like it's written by Neil Gaiman.
Almost. And like, so the whole point is to keep Santa secret, right?
Yeah.
And yet,
The SOS, the secret of Santa.
yeah.
Come on.
And yet, every like thing of Santa is Tim Allen's face. Like literally the crazy lady that he goes on, the first date that he goes on in the second movie, has a picture of his face on her shirt.
It's true.
Like, that's literally Tim Allen as the Santa on her shirt. So it's like, how do they know what he looks like? And does all the merchandise change after the death of every, like, is that a magical thing?
Yeah, it must be.
Wait, is the Christmas...
all of our minds are affected by this Christmas murder magic.
Oh shit, I just had a brain blast. Oh fuck.
Continue.
The evil Christmas like magic energy is powered by the free market.
So capitalism is the true evil of Christmas as laid out in A Christmas Carol.
Oh shit, this is a lot deeper than I thought.
It is not. To be clear, I stand by my original statement. These movies should not be deep dived into.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. So Neil, total non sequitur.
Great.
I just realized this looking at the IMDb. The character Neil is played by a guy named Judge Reinhold.
Yes.
And for the longest time, every time I've heard his name, I thought he was a real judge. Like, I've always wondered what his first name was. And
Well then,
now I feel silly.
silly Ian.
This-
Judge is his name.
Oh dear. Judge
Yeah.
Reinhold. That is a name
Indeed.
for a judge.
Okay.
Oh, these movies are... Two of the three movies are terrible. Two
Yeah.
of these three movies are absolutely terrible.
But I still watch them every year.
Yeah. All right. I know we've kind of gone off of our chronological order,
Definitely.
but let's move on to Santa Clause 3.
Great.
I hate this movie so much.
You don't like the magical hugs?
I do not like the magical hugs. However,
You don't like the tooth fairy?
however, Martin Short is
Yes.
a gem, and
Yep.
I love him. And he's he's fantastic in this movie. Like all his interactions with Tim Allen are great. All his
Yep.
interactions with all the other characters are great. It's all the other interactions of all the other characters interacting with everyone else that are absolutely garbage. And I hate it. I hate it so much. So looking at this movie on IMDb and its likened movies, of course it has 1 and 2, but it also has the Mario Brothers movie.
Good.
And it looks like Smoky Mountain Christmas, which is Dolly Parton's Christmas music album video movie thing. So yeah,
Great. Strange.
very. I think it because this has a musical number in it. Maybe I don't know. Which
Does this have a musical number in it? Oh yeah, it, does
Yeah,
have
it
a
has
song.
the
I don't know if we could. Yeah.
I mean, it's Martin Short belting his lungs out, doing a rendition of North Pole, North Pole, a variation of New York, New York.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's
All about
terrible.
Christmas capitalism.
Entirely about Christmas capitalism. But if you notice, it's a different type of Christmas capitalism.
Definitely.
Yeah. It
isn't subtle anymore.
It's the Disney. The irony is, it's the Disney version of capitalism.
Yes, it is. It's literally theme park capitalism.
Oh my gosh. These movies are atrocious. No, sorry, I can't say that. The latter two movies are absolutely atrocious. And apparently Tim Allen hates making them because the bodysuits are horrible to wear.
Then I say we petition for another one, just so he has to suffer a little. I don't even care what the plot is. It can be revealing all the dark behind the scenes stories.
Oh, what if it's like a Force Awakens style where it's like a sequel trilogy, but as they go through it, they just start killing off all the main characters of the original. Yes.
So it starts with Santa being killed, of course.
Oh, it's got to.
because it's the only way.
The only way. And then we'll get to see how Mrs. Claus
Perspective North Pole.
Yeah.
Santa is killed. What happens now?
Oh my god. They are so terrible. They're so bad. No, I don't want a fourth one, because then we'll have to watch it. I don't want it.
Fourth one.
Oh, and what was it? Curtis, the elf that takes over for the other elf. What is his name? Takes over for Bernard. That actor is not a bad actor. Why is he so bad in these movies? He is so bad in these movies.
Which one, Bernard or
Curtis?
Curtis.
Bernard is fine.
First of all, Curtis was like 12 when he made these movies.
Yeah, I guess. Excuses.
Bernard's actor was an actual full-grown adult when he made these. He's one of the few elves that can be a good actor because he's played by an adult, fully formed human with like emotional experience to draw from.
Nah.
All the other elves are children.
Nah.
And listen, there are some really good children actors. They were not aiming for those for these movies.
Yeah. Have children actors just gotten better, or have I gotten worse at telling people's ages?
Probably a bit of both, yeah.
Because like the kids in like Stranger Things, or conversely the kids in It,
right?
I mean, a lot
No,
of
all,
crossover, but those are
they're
really
all
good
pretty
actors.
similar to the ages they're playing. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
maybe a little older, but not dramatically.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like the quality of children actors has gone up considerably.
You know, it's a fun sequence of watching movies.
Not
that
these.
sentence was a mess, but you need to go from watching Serenity into the Santa Clause.
What?
Because your mind will explode when Mr. Universe shows up running the North Pole. Because I did that a few years ago on accident, and I was like, why?
That's right, that's David Krumholtz. Santa killed me with a sword. How weird is that? Oh my god. I forgot about that. So for the longest time, I got David Krumholtz and Oscar Isaac mixed up a lot.
Huh.
It's hard to tell them apart now. I mean, no. It's hard to see the similarities.
Easy to tell them apart now.
Yes, but back in the day, I felt like they were very similar looking. I know they're not, but
Ian, this is just proof of how damn straight you are.
What?
It's just proof of how straight you are. Those two men do not look alike. One of them is very attractive, and the other one's fine.
I mean, let's be honest here. Oscar Isaac is gorgeous. I will admit that. But,
and you still couldn't tell the difference?
I mean, now I can. But in my tween-age years, it was, I could, like, when I first saw the trailer for Force Awakens, is that the guy from the Santa Claus?
You were like 27 when the trailer for Force Awakens came out.
No, I'm not that old.
You were like 24 then.
I hadn't seen anything.
You're not a teenager.
Shh.
We're the same age, Ian. I know how old you were.
Don't hate me.
I don't hate you, but why are you straight?
Oh, man. Well, at least that should bring some comfort to my wife that I am, in fact, straight.
Very comforting, I'm sure.
Oh, man. David Krumholtz and Oscar Isaac. I mean, they totally could be brothers.
Yeah, sure. They have similarities. But they do not look like the same person.
I mean, yeah. No, yeah. So, what's your favorite part of the movies?
The pinstripe suit. Frost wears in the third one. We already went over this.
Oh, man. Oh, so I don't know if I just like
Well,
I don't know if I just blacked out watching the third
mhm.
one, but I totally missed the part where like the parents, what was it? Neil and Laura got
Mhm.
frozen.
Yeah.
Like I missed that part completely. And so when they got wheeled out like frozen, I was like, what the fuck
You're like, what
happened to
happened?
them?
No, she like saw him going into the snow globe room, the little girl. I don't remember her name. And she was like, "You're
Lucy.
not supposed yeah, you're not allowed in there. That's not yours." And then he asks her to be his elf because that's the thing that happens this whole movie. And she says no. And so she starts screaming for help, and her parents come to help her. And he looks at her and goes, "You should not have done that." And then freezes her parents into a closet and locks her in there also.
These movies are so fucking dark. Could you imagine getting locked in a closet with the frozen corpses of your parents? I mean, seriously. And then your last, like, possible hope for, like, vengeance, Santa Claus comes in and then he tells you to hug the person who murdered your parents. Yeah, hug him. That will save your parents.
I mean, it did.
It did, but, like, evil. This movie is so dark.
Yeah.
Ugh. This
Yeah. Hey,
series, man.
Ian,
Yeah.
thinking of movies where, love and compassion save the day, you still haven't seen any of the Harry Potter movies, have you?
Should I admit that on this podcast?
Yeah, because I'm about to do something mean.
Oh no. What?
If we get even one comment asking us to do all the Harry Potter movies, we will.
Oh my, that's so many movies.
Not all in one episode.
I know, but that's what, 8 movies?
Yep. Someone has to request it for us to do it, but we will.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh god. And by the way, you're wrong.
About.
I have seen one.
Okay.
I saw the first one
Ah,
in theaters. And
wow.
it was one of the worst experiences of my life because not because the movie was bad. I actually don't remember anything about the movie. I remember there was a ogre or a troll or something like that in a bathroom.
Troll in the dungeons.
Well, it was in the bathroom.
Yeah,
And
by the time they found it.
they killed it by shoving a wand up its nose or something like that. So that
Yeah,
was
something
fun.
like that.
Yeah. That's all I remember from it. But
Nice.
it was the worst experience ever because I was at a friend's birthday and we had pizza and then we were like, oh, we're going to go see a movie. It's like, when I was like a kid, I was in like 7th or 8th grade or whatever, whenever it came out, 6th or 7th grade. And they sold more tickets than there were seats.
Oh no.
And so I sat on the steps the entire movie.
That sucks.
It was the worst. So yeah, that's why I don't like having friends and going to birthday parties. That one event ruined friends, birthday parties, and Harry Potter movies for me.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. This year, Ian's birthday spectacular will be a Harry Potter podcast with his friends.
Oh, dear God. So, speaking of a movie I actually want to see, should we talk about what our next movie is going to be?
Yeah. Our next movie is going to be Soul.
Which is going to be a direct to Disney Plus, but they're not going to pull a Mulan. It is going to be available to everyone who is part of their subscription package, which I think is a smart thing to do. Especially since Mulan kind of critically and financially flopped.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mulan yet?
Nope.
Neither have I. I watched a couple reviews on it, and they all had the same consensus of why did they make the changes that they did? and
Right.
that it was worse for it. So yeah, still not going to watch that. But I'm excited about Soul because that
Me
is
too.
Pixar, and the premise of it sounds fascinating, and it feels like it's going to be very musical, like Coco.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney or Pixar gets music. Like they just
Yeah.
understand music. And so I'm really excited to see where they take it with what looks like kind of Southern jazz slash blues style
Mm-hmm.
music, as opposed to the mariachi and like Spanish style guitar of Coco. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for Soul.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I am excited too.
Yes. So do we have any final thoughts for the Santa Claus with an E trilogy?
Yeah, a lot of mistakes can be forgiven if you wear a really good suit. This is a lesson we can learn both from the third Santa Claus and from How I Met Your
so,
Mother.
so my brain just went suit, like the Santa Claus suit. It's like, is he forgiven for murder? Like,
Well, yes, that truly he was. He put on a different suit and was forgiven for murder because of it.
but
I
now I
went
see
the
you're
Jack
talking
Frost
about.
suit, but that works too. This is a multifaceted comment that shouldn't have been delved as deep into, but was. See? The theme of the podcast.
Oh man, all I know, and this is my final thought as well. All I know is that to truly appreciate the mythos of the Santa Claus movie series, the saga of Santa Claus, you really have to dig deep into the lore and contemplate the consequences and the actions of every character in each movie to truly get what the movie is going for. And
Yeah.
I feel like I have attained that level. And honestly, I feel like I've transcended because of it.
Wow. Congratulations.
Anyways, go watch the first one. It's delightful. It's lovely. Santa Claus 2 and 3, I mean, if you want to see a lovely suit or a robot Nazi, go for it. Watch them.
They're cheerful. If you have kids, especially, just let them play the whole trilogy.
Especially
It's
the one with
mindless.
especially the one with a robot Nazi. It's so
Yeah.
cheerful.
I mean, to be fair, the robot Nazi is framed as a bad guy. It's not teaching any weird lessons.
That's fair.
Nazi robots are bad. That's an okay lesson.
I mean, that's a fair point. Fair point. All right. So we should probably thank our Patreon our patrons. That's what I meant to say.
Yep.
You know, Patreon
Jenny, Jake, Pam,
patrons.
and Graham. Jenny, Jake, Pam, and Graham.
Jenny, Jake, Pam, and Graham, you guys rock. You make this possible. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yay.
So this has been another episode of Casual Cinephilia. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Vixen and Blitzen and all his reindeers pulling on the reins. Bells are ringing, children sing, and all is merry and bright. So hang your stockings and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He's got a bag that's filled with toys for boys and girls again. Hear those sleigh bells jingle, jangle, oh, what a beautiful sight. So jump in bed and cover your head, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He doesn't care if you're rich or poor, he loves you just the same. Santa Claus knows we're all God's children. makes everything right. So fill your hearts with Christmas cheer, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He'll come around when chimes ring out that it's Christmas morn again. Peace on earth will come to all if we just follow the